Are you going to sue DogPack?
Well, yeah, that's a great question to kick it off on. Yes.
My take on the whole MrBeast thing was, look, it might not be the best idea for YouTubers to completely alienate MrBeast, okay, and to say that he is evil and beyond redemption and all this shit, okay? Of course, criticize him. Of course, call him out for it. There's definitely, let's be clear, DogPack pointed and shined a light on some things that absolutely were warranted in being pointed at and having a light shined upon, okay? DogPack also basically took the frame that MrBeast is evil. He's evil. He's an evil motherfucker, and he's a psychopath and a sociopath, and basically the completely uncharitable cynic stance. And I could understand that, okay, as a framing device, as a spectacle, okay? Nobody's gonna click on a video being like, MrBeast is kind of shady. Well, maybe some people, but it is much juicier, and DogPack, you know, obviously got over tens of millions of views off of a fresh channel by basically framing it as MrBeast, evil, psychopath, all right? And so when you are basically priming, you know, the field right off the bat for MrBeast to not be able to really respond or whatever, or you're basically positioning it as like, this guy's a write-off, he's not redeemable or whatever, you're not exactly offering any kind of a path forward, right? And so you really don't give him much incentive to actually listen to what you're saying necessarily, okay? Now, obviously there's a lot of financial incentive for MrBeast to take in the criticisms and try and, you know, thwart these things from happening again, whatever. But my argument was basically that us as YouTubers, MrBeast is entering fucking orbit. Okay, this guy is a rocket ship and he's entering orbit. And he's entering the spheres where he does not need to talk to YouTubers at all, okay? He is beyond mainstream, okay? He can talk to Cristiano Ronaldo, like all of these, you know, Tom Brady, all these like mainstream, whatever you want to call them, entertainers, celebrities, whatever. He does not need to actually properly dwell within the depths of the YouTube community, okay? And so if we completely shun him, right, beyond redemption, it'd be very easy for him to just be like, okay, I don't care. I don't care. You know what I mean? Because for MrBeast, right, think about it, the average MrBeast viewer, they're not watching commentary videos realistically at all, right? And so yes, this does seem like Oompaville. When I saw that Oompaville was the guy who was going to be interviewing MrBeast, I was like, ooh, that's actually super interesting. Oompaville is kind of known for securing some interesting interviews and all this. He's not known for grilling people, okay? Let's be clear. Like, people have kind of said that Oompaville goes too soft on him. And so, yes, we're going to explore that. But just out the gate, I'm glad that MrBeast is still willing to speak to us low-level commenters, okay?
Brand new merch. The Puppet Master hat. It says bad faith on it. Holy moly, ravioli.
This beautiful piece of merchandise is available only at Gokanaru.com. You know what else is only available at Gokanaru.com? This beautiful hoodie. Whoa, dude, look at how clean that color pops, dude. Holy moly, ravioli. Very, very cool. Look at that. You get the skulls leading down into a beautiful flower, okay? Eternal beauty, baby. So yes, these are only available at Gokanaru.com. As well, while you're there, if you decide to cop any of these items that I'm showcasing right now, you can sign up for the email list to be notified for these beautiful little bots. And guess what? If you sign up for that email list, you get 10% off the hoodie or the hat or any item you want on the store. But yes, please sign up for the email list at Gokanaru.com. This fit, by the way, this combo, this hoodie and this hat, I love wearing these. Like, I unironically wear these. They go hard, okay? So, only at Gokanaru. Thank you. Is he gonna sue DogPack?
Well,
MrBeast is currently on a private jet on his way to where I live in Central Texas to have a conversation with me with the intention of addressing the controversy that he has been involved in over the last few months. And I think that it is important for me to document my intentions before embarking on this risky and difficult task. I am not Scott Pelley. I am not a hard-hitting genius investigative journalist. I'm a YouTuber with a medium-sized platform. I am currently doing journalism.
My boys, we're at the point where 5 million subscribers is a medium-sized platform. Here we go.
To be fair, but I am goofy, all right? Also, back in August, I platformed DogPack, and out of fairness, I feel that it is important to do the same for MrBeast. MrBeast has agreed to keep an open line of communication. He'll only be here for a little bit, which is crazy because he's flying halfway across the country. And he and his team have agreed to provide us with evidence and information to give proof to claims so we can actually be as
wow, this really is the official response.
Transparent here as possible. The goal of this video is not for it to please everyone or gotcha somebody. It is for this video to be a meaningful source of information. So to future me and you currently viewing, I'm sure I missed some questions, but I absolutely did my best and I stand behind the result, maybe. And I look forward to seeing the comments and criticism. Firstly, would you be willing to put your hand on this Bible and swear?
Oh my gosh, you actually have a Bible?
I have 2 Bibles.
Are you being serious?
I am being serious.
Okay.
I'm swearing. We're both from the South. This will be an honest video.
Oh, your laptop's blocking it.
Oh, whoops. This will be an honest video. You're a man from North Carolina. I'm from Virginia.
The Bible Belt.
The Bible Belt.
Yep.
Exactly.
I know
And this means it's legit.
Okay.
There we go.
I was not expecting that. Okay.
This is like legal now.
I can go to jail.
The first biggest question for me and a lot of people that I've spoken to over the last couple months is like, why were you so silent? Especially off the bat. Like, you did respond to the Ava Tyson stuff immediately, but like, you know, right after that, a bunch of other stuff came out and Dawson's video, his first video, gained a bunch of traction. What was your reasoning for being so silent immediately?
Yeah, that's a great question to kick it off on. You actually kind of laid out the timeline there. The Ava stuff came out and I put out that tweet. We hired the investigators to go look into it. And
Yeah, for those who don't know, he's referencing Ava Chris Tyson, formerly Chris Tyson of MrBeast. Okay. There was allegations that came out against Ava from technically like a personal assistant that Ava hired through MrBeast company. The accusations were an SA, okay, in nature. We actually made a video about that. Okay. And while the SA allegations didn't necessarily, it basically did not seem like an actual necessarily an SA took place, just according to what they themselves, like their account. It was definitely a conflict of interest type problem or whatever, where basically, yeah, Ava Chris Tyson hired somebody who they were also romantically involved with, and it seemed like not a very professional relationship. And so that's, I guess, what MrBeast had people looking into.
Part of that investigation is they recommended that I not talk about drama or really do anything online because it might influence, you know, witnesses or any people they might interview or ex-employees. So it's a little unfortunate because I told them, okay, I'll wait till the investigation is over. And I believe that was literally like a week before the DogPack video came out. And then, truthfully, just in transparency, I've never done one of these like big investigations before. And in my head, it was going to last like 2 or 3 weeks. It ended up taking a couple months, apparently combing through all the documents and doing all the interviews and everything. It just took way longer than I thought because I've never had to bring in a top tier law firm and a former federal prosecutor and let them, do this really big thing. And so that kind of concluded a couple weeks ago when I put out the tweet of the follow-up.
Yeah.
Like, that was the day I got the conclusion of it.
Okay, we have a tweet here. Over the last few days, I've become aware of the serious allegation of Ava Chris Tyson's behavior online, and I am disgusted and opposed to such unacceptable acts. During that time, I've been focused on hiring an independent third party to conduct a thorough investigation, yada yada. A 3-month investigation into allegations regarding my company has concluded, and basically after reviewing millions of documents, etc., 39 interviews, they told him to stop and refrain. So apparently, basically, this investigation did seem to be in MrBeast's favor in a lot of ways. Okay, and I'm interested in seeing what he has to say about it. I know that DogPack, like, there's certain allegations, because obviously with the Ava Chris Tyson stuff, it basically bloomed, okay? So it all just it was basically like a big old zit in the sense that there was the Ava Chris Tyson kind of controversy, and that started mounting, and then every thing kind of blew up, I guess, that was, kind of suspect within MrBeast's businesses, including the accusation of a potential manager at MrBeast, doing some very, very criminal acts. So yeah.
And I was like, okay, in transparency, I'll throw this out. So up until that point, it was, I had told Quinn Emanuel that, to protect the integrity, I wouldn't do anything or engage any of this drama. And then after that, yeah, like you said, a lot of stuff had come out between when the investigation started and when it ended, and I was just kind of like, whoa, I don't really know how to like hit this stuff. And I made like a little response video, but that's just kind of not my style, where I just kind of like put a lot of the information that I assume we're going to talk about here out, and it just felt weird. And yeah, I mean, truthfully, I've never been in a situation where people have thrown this much stuff at me, and I definitely could have handled it better. Like, I probably should have, like, the second I...
More information on this was provided by MrBeast in the doc, linked in the description, specifically a document from QE outlining the initial recommendation for silence. Okay.
Could have talked, like, I don't remember the exact date, 2 or 3 weeks ago when we put that report out. Probably should have done something like this right then. If I could go back in time, I would. And yeah, that's kind of like the brain dump. And then here I am.
Yeah, so I was going to ask, you answered it towards the end, but like, do you regret that, obviously?
Yeah. If I could go back in time, I would do what we're doing here, because I assume this is like the correct format. It's going to be a little bit more free-flowing and natural. And I wouldn't have wasted so much time like trying to do a response. It's just not my thing. I like so much better, or I'm assuming, I mean, we just started, but I think I'm going to like so much better being asked the questions and answer it instead of just like sitting in a chair like this, answering it. It just feels a little more natural.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean that definitely, you know, that does line up obviously with what's happened, and it makes sense. And I definitely, you know, I feel like before talking to you, I definitely would imagine that you would regret have not making a response early.
Oh,
right?
100%.
Like that, because that could have, you could have just immediately, if there is information to debunk DogPack's his first video off the bat.
Yeah, which obviously had...
Bro, Oompaville's nervous, dude. I don't blame him, but holy he's nervous. Oh my days. Oh my fucking days. Oh, okay. Let's get some hearts in the chat for our father Oompaville, okay, everyone? Let's get some fucking hearts in the chat. What's chat saying? A little peek behind the curtain. What do you mean? It would be wild if MrBeast just outlines the corporate crisis response playbook. Heads up, he asks a lot of questions that, personally speaking, it seems anyone can pretty much ask. Like, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about that? Fuck. Oompaville. I'm not getting confidence from him, and I'm also not getting a deep dive vibe.
Too much disinformation in it. If anyone saw Sagi's video or any of the newer videos now coming out, like you would see so much. So much of it. So it's unfortunate that it happened on the back end of when I said I would not talk about or address drama and things. And I mean, there's obviously, should have done this sooner. Whoops. But hey, better late than never.
Yeah. Did you think it would get this big?
No, I mean, truthfully, I thought, like, if you watch Sagi's video or any of these other videos that are coming out now showing all the discrepancies, I honestly thought a lot of people would find, like, the information proving the dishonesty earlier.
The Google?
Because a lot of this could have been, just figure out Google. A lot of this could, and now, I also have to be clear, like, I'm not perfect, and I'm not saying I've never done anything wrong, and you can't criticize me. Like, there are things I deserve criticism for, and I'm sure we'll get to some of those things in here, but there are a lot of things that are just not true. And, you know, on those things, like, I mean, we'll just get to it throughout this because I'm sure you're going to ask me the questions, but there's just a lot of disinformation that was easily proved wrong. Like, the big one that, I mean, videos with tens of millions of views collectively, you know, claiming I called a guy Delaware because he committed a crime in Delaware. Like, you know, that is not true. His name was just Delaware. I didn't, you know, call him Delaware to make fun of him or anything. And, I mean, I'm sure you're going to ask about it later, but there's literally... He was in a video before I hired him working at Best Buy wearing a name tag that said Delaware. And like, that was public information. And like, you know, anyone could have saw that. And like, even during when that was like getting shared a lot a couple months ago, I even sent that to a couple of YouTubers. I was like, hey, just so you know, like, I didn't call him Delaware because of this messed up thing. Like, that was just his name and here's proof. And I guess I probably shouldn't say the name of the creators, but like one of them...
Wait, what did he just say? Fuck.
Here's proof. And I guess I probably shouldn't say the name of the creators, but...
Sorry, man. I need to hear the
name, and here's proof. And I guess I probably shouldn't say the name of the creators, but
you shouldn't say the name of the creators, right?
Like, one of them literally just said to me, like, well, it's not really cool to like you or defend you right now, so I don't really care whether or not it's true, or I don't want to take the video down because then people are gonna think I'm controlled opposition. I was like, whoa. And then also, like, that same photo.
Are you serious? Who the fuck could that be?
Are you gonna like throw some things on the screen for them?
Definitely.
Yeah, so throw it on the screen. That same photo, right after that second DogPack video, started to get traction on Reddit and saying like, hey, this is a lie. Jimmy didn't call him Delaware to make fun of him, you know, committing a crime in Delaware. That's just his name. And it got taken down by the mods on r/YouTube drama. And that's when I realized, like, oh, anytime there's a post proving like that I'm not evil, they were taking it down.
See, this is the fucking problem that I was emphasizing with DogPack, bro, is that he frames it's like MrBeast is fucking evil. And it's pretty easy, especially with a lot of the more flagrant fucking very not well backed up claims DogPack makes. It's very easy to dismantle being evil. But yeah, we'll see.
So it was a little unfortunate too, because I wasn't saying anything.
Let me just also say, Oompaville is not leading this fucking conversation. So you know, let him talk, yeah, but I'm hoping Oompa takes the reins.
And then on Reddit, anytime something was proving that I wasn't evil or, you know, contrarian to what everyone was saying, they were suppressing it or censoring it, not trying to sound extreme.
So you're saying it's like a echo chamber, which, I mean, Reddit, r/YouTube drama is...
Yeah, I know, but it's unfortunate when there's a post with 10,000 upvotes claiming something false about you, and then then a couple people are like, wait, that's not true, here's proof. And then they delete it every time. So then everyone's like, okay, well, then that must be true because they're also deleting the comments on that post that prove it's not. So then then it's just like, now, you know, again, I'm not trying to sound extreme, but it's just like, well, you're censoring information. And then that paired with other YouTubers, when I would call them and share it with them, they'd just be like, well, I don't want to be a MrBeast Glazer, so I don't really... They wouldn't say it this direct, but they would just essentially say, like, I don't really care if it's true or not. I'm just going to say what other people say, like, sorry.
Do you have evidence of, like, people, there being posts that existed and then didn't exist on Reddit that got...
of course. Yeah,
okay,
I can send you...
Yeah, if you'd send me anything
you could throw it up
that.
on screen. I mean, that's not like a conspiracy theory. That's
of course, yeah. Just, you know.
we can find quite a few.
I'm not that good at using Google.
Yeah.
I'll need you to help. Yeah, so to circle back to the Quinn Emanuel investigation, the big thing on the internet, on Twitter specifically, was that you found yourself to be innocent. Of course, you paid a law firm to find yourself innocent.
I saw those memes, yeah.
There's the big meme. How would you respond to the allegation that the investigation was biased from the start?
First off, to just set the foundation, I think a lot of people are saying, oh, of course, Jimmy did an internal investigation, found himself... they didn't find any wrongdoing, which is also not true, which I assume we'll go into that more later. They did find some wrongdoing, just not in regards to like the serious Ava allegation.
Here we go. The investigation produced the following significant findings. Allegations of sexual misconduct between company employees and minors are without basis. The allegations were soundly rejected. Allegations of the company knowingly employing individuals with proclivities to histories toward illegal or questionable legal conduct were uniformly rejected. Several isolated instances of workplace harassment and misconduct were identified during the investigation. The company was informed of such conduct and took swift and appropriate actions to address the incidents, including, where necessary, disciplining or letting go of implicated individuals.
So that's a false truth. And then on top of that, it wasn't an internal investigation. It was an external investigation, which was clearly laid out in the things we showed.
Yeah, a third-party investigation.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I mean, it is a little bit of a lot of people I saw were saying like, well, you paid them, and it's like, yeah, top tier lawyers and federal prosecutors don't work for free, so I have to pay them.
Yeah.
So I don't really know how to debunk that one. I mean, it just is what it is. But yeah, we hired Quinn Emanuel, which is one of the top law firms in the world. Like, I mean, it was very expensive, but I intentionally picked them because they have a reputation, and they're not just gonna destroy their entire business to be biased towards me, you know what I mean? And then it was led by a former federal prosecutor who did the whole thing. I mean, it was pretty intense. I mean, they did tons of interviews. I mean, transparency. Even
39 interviews for the record. Okay, there's a lot more employees than 39, but yeah.
And like scanned my phone, dug through. Like they have messages.
What? They scanned his phone.
Did tons of interviews. I mean, transparency. They even like scanned my phone, dug through. Like they have messages I sent to my girlfriend, and I'm like, why is this even relevant? And they're like, I mean, if you want a thorough one and you want us to like be confident in what we're saying, we need to see everything. Like they went pretty hardcore on it, which is why it ended up taking a couple of months. Because
damn. Okay. I mean, we don't have. I guess we might not have proof of this for the record that they scanned his fucking phone. But anyway, that is wild.
When I started this process, I didn't realize like how intense it was. But
yeah, he's like, I didn't realize they were gonna see what I was saying to my girl, dude. That's fucked up.
I gave him the reins to everything, and yeah, it took longer than I thought. But I don't know. I mean, is there any like how else do I prove it besides? I mean, I think another thing that missing context people don't have is like if they found anything illegal, they are obligated to report it to the police. Like this like that's how these things work when they do these investigations. It's not like they could be like, hey Jimmy, we found this illegal thing. We'll just sweep it under the rug.
But it's all right because you paid us.
Yeah, like so it's just in every way. I just don't think people understand. Like it's it was obviously Quinn Emanuel. That's why we paid them, and it was pretty thorough. And
So I mean,
holy titties, man. Okay, what's your vibe, chat? How are you feeling right now? MrBeast Riz rating. He's fucking rizzing up Oompaville right now. All I'm going to say is that if you're on the same side as MrBeast and Peter Thiel, then that is a side you generally don't want to be on because they definitely don't care about you. Yo, Josh Allen better. I'm not on the side of Peter Thiel, bro. Is MrBeast on the same team as Peter Thiel? What I'm arguing for, okay, is basically what I've been saying is that MrBeast is not completely, I mean, maybe this is not the case now, but last I checked, MrBeast is not completely it's like within the establishment or whatever you would say. He's not entrenched. He's kind of malleable in terms of like his ideology, all this shit. And so why fucking alienate him when you could theoretically actually influence him potentially, or at the very least kind of try and convince him to lead a more noble path. I don't know. I dislike MrBeast, but I doubt he's anywhere close to Thiel. Yeah, that's the weird compare. I don't know if there's like an actual correlation between Peter Thiel and fucking MrBeast. I know MrBeast obviously glazes Elon Musk. He's a big Elon Musk stan or whatever, but yeah, Thiel, I'm not a fan of, bro.
Those are two things that make sense, right? We just covered two back-to-back things that make sense. A, you waited a long time for the investigation, and B, you paid like a very reputable law firm, whatever, to investigate. Yep. Both of those things make sense logically from your perspective, but also optically from the outside looking in. For people who are just seeing the allegations, they're like, "Oh, this guy looks guilty."
Yeah,
he's building this big sort of law team, and he's not responding, and he's like it. So it's kind of bizarre.
Chat. I don't have the swag to like actually properly justifiably say this, but I fucking wish I got this goddamn interview,
because like it does make sense. Like from a logical perspective.
I mean, because there's two things I could do. I could do an internal investigation.
Yeah,
but that's
great idea.
Because I don't want to audit myself.
Let your mom do it.
Yeah, exactly. I'll let my mom do it, or I could do an external one. That's what we did. And again, it's like, because I didn't have control over it. Obviously, if I did, I would have been like, bro, do this in 2 weeks so I can get this out there. Like, I didn't want it to take months, but I mean, that's part of an external investigation. You don't have control over it.
Now, would you consider? So you obviously regret the remaining silent. Would you consider that the third party investigation?
Dude. He should have opened with some of the criticisms, but I get why he opened by basically saying, like, why were you silent?
As a whole, in looking back, would that have been would you say that's a mistake?
No, I just think I would push back on, like, do I really have to be silent?
Okay.
Like, can I just, like, do this thing? Like, go clap back on some of these things, but, like, some of these things people were apparently talking to ex-employees or whatever, and so it just gets muddy because I really didn't want the integrity of the investigation to, like, be in question or anything. So I was like super paranoid where I was like, okay, this is what they said, I don't want to push back or anything. But yeah, obviously in hindsight, like, I mean, a lot of these things that were just blatantly lies, like if I just clap back instantly, people were just like, okay, cool, and moved on.
Would you consider making some details of the investigation that have yet to be seen public? Obviously, there's like a level of confidentiality that is required legally.
Exactly. Yeah.
But like, is there anything?
Well, that's the thing. Like, what we put out as much as we could, but I mean, obviously, they did dozens of interviews, including alleged people who were victims, and I mean, like I said, my message to my girlfriend, like they gathered a lot, so. I don't really think I can. I mean, there's a lot of sensitive data and information in there.
What about like a just to back up your claims to their
but things on like how like they did it independently and they weren't biased, like that side. Yeah. I mean, I don't really know what people would want to see, but yeah, I mean, we can figure it out.
Just from what I know about like retainer contracts with lawyers and working with third party investigations, things like, which I don't have any experience with anything that big, obviously.
Yeah.
But maintaining a level of compliance. I mean, if there's like a retainer contract, something showing that you shouldn't.
Now this is where I'm ignorant. Like I don't even know really what a retainer contract is, but
yeah, that's actually funny. Oompaville actually kind of pulling out good ass fucking questions right here, and MrBeast himself is like, bro, I got people for that shit, man. I don't know what the hell this is.
Yeah, I mean, like
if there's any way I could, of course.
More information on this was provided by MrBeast in the doc. Holy titties, we're gonna have to fucking look at that doc. Oh yeah, I wish that he put citations, but 21 pages. Should we just read the doc? Should we read the doc first? That might be the play. If I'm MrBeast, I'm going to want someone that isn't going to put me on edge. Yeah, no, this was a great selection by MrBeast. And not just because Oompaville is just going to glaze him. I don't think that really at all. But I do think it because Oompaville is not known for being some kind of like, confrontational, disagreeable type interviewer or whatever, right? I think some people can be more generous in interviews while some can actually be going into it and being more aggressive for answers. Well, look, here's the thing, right? It's not just about aggression or whatever, all right? It is, I think, most important going into a fucking interview to actually understand and know all the fucking facts that are available of the case. The more fucking facts and awareness that you have of the case, the better questions you will ask, the more specific you can get. That's the real thing that I'm trying to suss out with Oompaville, right? Because I don't know the level that he was actually even aware of the specifics of this fucking case. But I imagine he did do his research, his due diligence, and I'm looking forward to seeing the result. I want to read this Google Doc. We're going to do it. I'm sorry. Okay, so here we go. Proof document, some form of statement, documentation, or acknowledgement from Quinn Emanuel about going through the communications of employees, including Jimmy's, to show that this did happen. Everything in this statement was written by Quinn Emanuel and covers what you asked for. Okay, so this is like a document that Oompaville was sent by MrBeast's team, and I believe it was written by Quinn Emanuel, right, which is the law firm that MrBeast commissioned to do an independent fucking little assessment. Dear Board of Directors, as you know, July 2024, MrBeast LLC engaged Quinn Emanuel to conduct an internal investigation into specific allegations made publicly, incidents reported internally, and issues raised by employees in interviews, including with respect to current and/or former company personnel and the company's workplace environment and culture. At your direction, Quinn Emanuel immediately launched a comprehensive investigation. I'm going to zoom in for you guys. I just realized. Which is now concluded. The following set forth certain key findings and conclusions from the investigation without waiving any applicable privileges included, but not limited to, the attorney-client privilege and work product protection. We need Legal Eagle to look at this. As an initial matter to protect the investigation's integrity, on July 31st, 2024, Quinn Emanuel requested that a former employee, Dawson French, that is, DogPack, cease making public allegations against the company, as those were the topic of an ongoing investigation. We also requested that current employees refrain from public comments to ensure the investigation yielded accurate information and that witnesses were not tainted. The intent was to foster candid interviews and complete cooperation with the investigatory process. I mean, assuming, and I believe this, that this was written by the law firm commissioned, it does seem like this is kind of proof that this is what they requested. This is why MrBeast did not respond or clap back right away or whatever. Quinn Emanuel conducted 39 interviews of current and former employees. Over 4.5 million documents collected from mobile phones, emails, Telegram, Discord, etc. were processed and reviewed. Collaboration and cooperation sought at the outset were achieved throughout this process. Quinn Emanuel thoroughly investigated all public allegations and any others that arose during the investigation. Now, there's a comment that MrBeast made that is true and not true, okay? He said that he hired Quinn Emanuel because they have such an internationally renowned reputation, and why would they gamble their reputation to cover for MrBeast? That's true. That is a aspect of trust, is like reputation, right? Now, let's be clear as well. Quinn Emanuel is not just trying to protect themselves in terms of like, their competitors basically calling them out for covering up, their clients or being unethical or whatever. They are a law firm. And their number one stakeholder is their fucking clients, okay? And so there absolutely exists incentives for Quinn Emanuel to, at the very least, appraise favorably the MrBeast side, okay? So just to acknowledge that, because MrBeast made it sound like, why the fuck would they ever? And it's like, yes, because they want people to hire them for independent reviews in the future. That could be an incentive. Although, I will go into this basically assuming that they, were relatively sincere, okay? They were looking to see if there was any bodies. Anyway, the investigation produced the following findings. Allegations of sexual misconduct were rejected, basically. Allegations of the company toward employing individuals with histories of illegal or questionable legal conduct are without basis. And then several isolated incidents of harassment and misconduct were identified. As you are well aware, the company has grown exceedingly quickly from a YouTube startup comprised of a few talented young individuals to a much larger entity. It is not uncommon that policies and practices essential in a mature company would lag behind commercial success. See, this is interesting because the law firm is basically running defense. This is true, what they're saying. Like, of course, there's growing pains building a company this fucking fast. It's crazy what they've managed to do, to be honest. This is basically defending MrBeast. Anyway, this appears to have been the case here and has, in certain instances, allowed for inappropriate conduct. It is clear that the company is committed to remedying historical issues and creating a mature culture where problematic behaviors are not tolerated as it enters its new phase. The company has also already implemented or is in the process of implementing changes to ensure a safe and professional corporate culture today and moving forward. These include sending a clear message regarding tone at the top, so vague, hiring a new CEO, CPO, and general counsel, and soon to be hired a chief financial officer. Damn, Mr. Beast's mom is not going to be the CFO anymore. No. Okay, so basically they're bringing in more industry professionals who have like work history, you know what I mean? They're becoming megacorp. They're becoming a megacorp. Implementing mandatory corporate training for all employees. Okay, sure. Developing new policies codified in an employee handbook. Establishing an anonymous reporting mechanism or hotline for employees. Swiftly terminating individuals who violated company policy, regardless of their position or level within the company. Identifying additional employees for targeted training and executive coaching to address professionalism and compliance with company policy. This officially concludes our investigation. We remain available if you need any follow-ups. All right, we'll see, I guess. Is there any documentation showing a standard operating procedure or HR materials regarding an anonymous tip line to show this as active? Here's, I guess, a screenshot of the portal that they use for anonymous complaints, anonymous email address. Okay, fucking whatever. How many of your videos do you use CGI in? It's hard to say an exact percentage. For example, here's a claim that DogPack made of an explosion claiming it wasn't real. It was real, we just touched it up in post. Even you mentioned in our podcast that text in video is technically CGI. It's hard to give you a specific percentage. Oh my god. But as far as large video altering examples, it's so incredibly minimal and expensive, we rarely use it. Okay, the raw versus the final. This was really a fucking... Who cares, man, if they fake the fucking explosions? Anyway, what is the link to the people that was a refund for the live stream? We created this custom portal where all you have to do is enter your order code for a refund. Okay, so this is, if I had to guess, this is in response to a very clearly valid criticism of DogPack's, which was that during a charity live stream, they basically were selling MrBeast merch signed by MrBeast, and it was made clear that other MrBeast crew members were signing with Jimmy's signature. Okay, so fraudulent signature, basically, whatever. And so I'm assuming that this is refunds based on that. So that's like a corrective measure and basically an admittance that yes, we did that. Are there records we can show of the incidents of harassment that were found to have transpired rather than a yes, they happened? Unfortunately, I can't because it's confidential and protected by attorney-client privilege. Can't see past the smokescreen, I guess. Fuck. Can he provide the audits of Beast Philanthropy? Here's a link to the transparency report on the Beast Philanthropy website. Coffee if you want to do a deep dive. I'd love to have one. Is this... Who the fuck? Coffee. CoffeeZilla. Okay. Here's the 2022 audit, I guess. This is not a 2023 or 4 audit, but... For those who don't know, by the way, I have a little bit of insight into Beast Philanthropy. I was unironically in contact with MrBeast when this was first being begun. And all I can really say is that it seemed like this was something he was actually genuinely excited about. He seemed, behind the scenes, actually sincerely excited about the idea of being able to feed communities and basically to have a positive impact in some capacity in the world. So that's my personal insight on Beast Philanthropy. And so, yeah, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to read this. I believe there's good being done in Beast Philanthropy. And this doesn't really prove anything that isn't more or less publicly available, right? Total expenses, $9 million. Program expenses, whoa, 96% spent on programs. Okay. Independent audit reports are available at Beast Philanthropy. Isn't this supposed to be the independent audit? Oh, that's the transparency report. I see. I'm not going to lie. I don't care enough to check out the independent audit. Do you have proof of the $1 million you had to give to Beast Philanthropy? Okay, Mr. Charity Inc., commercial checking, $1 million. All right, I guess so. You claim to use a union for Beast Games. What union did you use? Huh, interesting. I've heard actually that they did not use unions, at least in Canada. Beast Games, for those who don't know, is the big MrBeast project that is currently wrapped up and they're like preparing it for consumption on Amazon. I have been told, and I am not, this is directly from someone who worked on the fucking set, but like that's not, I can't really give you hard proof. But I've been told basically that they hired a lot, majority non-union when they went to Canada for Beast Games. So this claims that they worked or used 2 unions for Beast Games. I'm assuming neither of them are based in Canada. National Association of Broadcast Employees and Technicians. Yeah, this is American. And then, no, yeah, it says Directors Guild of Canada. Canadian Labor Union representing more than 5,500 professionals from 48 different occupations in the Canadian film and television industry, founded in 1962. I'm just trying to see if Toronto falls under this. Ontario, yeah. Well, that's the claim, that they used this union. I don't know how much of, this union's help they enlisted, right? But we shall see. Is there proof of people leaving immediately after arriving at challenges when learning they get paid regardless of participation? Yeah, this happens all the time. Here's my girlfriend, Thea, talking it on a podcast years ago. Okay, so based on the shitty grammar, and clearly you said my girlfriend. MrBeast, this is Mr. Beast's response, I guess.
A lot of people came, got their COVID tests, and they tested positive. And the girls somehow ended up with way too little contestants. So I got a call randomly from the studio, and they're like, we need a female. I'm like, well, I am a female.
Last time I checked.
I guess I could do this 100-hour challenge. And honestly, it was really fun. It was so cool being part of the challenge. I did go after 24 hours because I was so afraid I might accidentally find something I'm not supposed to find. And we did end up winning, though, which was the plot twist. Even if you leave, you get to keep the $5,000.
Oh.
I don't lie. I won't lie. Like this is not relevant to me at all. That doesn't tell me fucking anything, but whatever. This question doesn't matter to me either. Is there proof of people leaving immediately after arriving in channel? Like, who cares? Jimmy states that if people would like a refund from the live stream where he was accused of running an illegal lottery, they can fill in a form provided, and that will be put somewhere like the description of our video. We need a form link for something like that if possible to provide. And so they have this MrBeast Refunds website. Could Jimmy show us any receipts he might have for the recent payment of 1,000 eye surgeries? This is the person who made a video saying he wasn't paid for the eye surgeries. He did. And after we paid him, he made an update video and states he was paid. Interesting. Okay, so basically it seems like there's a controversy, a matter of accounting where Beast Corp forgot or neglected or put off paying this this eye surgeon, and he basically ends up, after complaining about it, after having to speak to the public about it, he actually got paid, which is scummy, but it was rectified, I guess, right?
They wired $124,000 this morning. So thank you again very much. Thank you to Jimmy and the team for fixing the problem so quickly. And yeah, there was a third party involved with big miscommunications and misunderstandings. And I believe that those things are going to get worked out as well in the future.
Okay. All right. Seems legit. Can Jimmy supply any recipients to show that the 100 wells were built, or any other information that could help quantify how many wells he actually built in Africa? Wells of Life was one of the partners who helped us with the video. You can read more about it on their website. Yeah, okay. Okay, so the foundation that they basically worked through or with claims basically that they worked through or with MrBeast. Okay. Understood. Can Jimmy provide any purchase receipts, pictures, or videos proving he worked with Peruvian cocoa farmers before switching to Tony's? Here's a video of my old manager Reed on our old farms in Peru. Inside MrBeast's $100 million chocolate factory. What channel is this? Reed. Crazy how everything MrBeast themed blows up instantly except this type of behind the scenes stuff. Rest in peace, Reed. You can't get that clout. Come on, boss. Oh, there we go.
This is where we make Feastables chocolate. We are in Peru.
So sweet. This is the facility where the Feastables journey begins.
The ADHD, holy shit.
We are currently in the middle of Tarapoto. Behind right here where Kevin is like all the cocoa. So we're gonna tour that right now. This is essentially where the Feastables journey begins. It begins in these cocoa fields where we'll take pods and then they'll get fermented and then they'll get sent.
All right, I mean, is this proof? Is this hard proof? Yes and no, right? It's somewhat proof for sure, but it's there could be more, obviously, to fucking document that. Anyway, can Jimmy show any photos or videos of Jimmy working in Ghana on cocoa farms? Yes, so here are some tweets people made when they saw me in Ghana to prove I was there. Fuck, wow, MrBeast is in Ghana. Look at how boys are gathering to take pictures with him. It was April. Ghanan flag. MrBeast in Ghana. This is so fucking random, dude. Crazy. Below are photos of me working on farms in Ghana. Okay. Like, look, I'm not under any illusions that MrBeast is handpicking the fucking cocoa or that he's working necessarily on the ground in these charity projects, okay? So this isn't necessarily all that relevant to me, okay? But clearly, like look, he goes to Ghana, right? And it is kind of more or less a little bit of a PR thing, a little bit of like a overseeing, a big project type of thing. But it's not like that deep. Like Jimmy's not fucking making this shit himself. I mean, right? Like he's not out here fucking harvesting this. But whatever. Do you have any examples of r/YouTube drama censoring and deleting positive posts about MrBeast and negative posts about his detractors? Here are tweets from people who are not me making these claims. Interesting. Drama alert. That's funny, man. Mr. Keemstar. Keemstar is a MrBeast simp, as am I. Okay, YouTube. So drama alert basically saying YouTube drama whatever. YouTube drama subreddit caught censoring people defending MrBeast. Details. Here we go. It was falsely accusing James Warren of domestic violence and animal abuse. Then it was falsely reporting on a fake Lunchley recall. Now the alleged CP shared in a group chat wasn't in fact CP. DogPack404 and Rosanna have shown time and time again to prioritize immediate attention and clout over any serious fact-checking or journalistic integrity. I'm amazed anybody takes them seriously. Comment/post removed for misinformation. The video was to prove that MrBeast did know, not to prove Ava posted CP. This was just stuff shared in the work Telegram server. Okay. Dogpack can't take personal responsibility because other people were talking about a different person in a chat a year ago. The mods will handle this post. If you have any questions, all right. Okay, whatever. Yes, I believe that this happened. r/YouTube drama is fucking cancer. Who cares? I mean, a lot of this so far has been like, okay. Okay. Oh, no way. No way. Nick DiOrio got cited in the fucking MrBeast. That's crazy. Oh, my days. The rogue r/YouTube drama moderator who had a mental breakdown about me is now in charge of deleting/condensing threads down discussing soggy cereals MrBeast video. His caption of choice is, the video has some weird stuff in it. Here's the important stuff surrounding it. I don't care. I believe that fucking YouTube drama is cancer, bro. I don't care. Here's some random examples my team found. I wouldn't focus on any particular ones, but more the volume. Okay, a bunch of fucking people basically saying, yeah, okay, r/YouTube drama censoring me. All right. Okay, who cares? What is this? Yeah, more. Who cares, man? Fucking YouTube drama. That's it. That's the whole fucking document. All right. Here's the Beast Philanthropy report. It's the same one we were looking at. Okay, there's the document. Nothing of note there. Not even really worth looking at, to be honest.
Like your third party saying, Jimmy, don't talk. Like just basically giving credence to what you're saying even more
gotcha.
so. More evidence of what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, that would be something I'd have to like go talk to the team on. But,
yeah,
I mean,
that would help.
If that's something where people desperately want transparency, I mean, yeah, we can figure something out.
Yeah, I that would just help me. I'm not sure if people. Honestly, I don't know if people would give a fuck.
Yeah, but, I don't know either.
I would
because if people are like, we think Quinn Emanuel's biased, like even no matter what I show them, if they think a top tier law firm would willingly potentially tank their rep for me, like I don't know if there's anything that's ever
it's
to
foolish,
convince them.
Right? Yeah, it is foolish, and it makes
you could put a bit of pushback there, but anyway.
Sense. But once again, it's like optically, there is a very easy. Lowest common denominator way to look at stuff.
He's siding with Beast. Like that's just what he's doing.
Yeah. But also, what I would say to those people is, I'm here, so it's not like I'm like maybe that argument would work if I just never did anything, but I'm here. So
in the lion's den,
controlled opposition towards me. Hey, also, I'd love to say I don't know if he's posting this chronologically or whatnot, but I mean, he also did interview DogPack multiple times, so it's
Oompaville was Oompaville, credit to him, he was ahead of the curve on this decent amount.
Because I could have done this with anyone, but I think this one makes sense because you've literally had the other side on here. So
yeah, and also to be clear as well, I have not signed like an NDA or
fuck.
I mean, there's genuinely nothing that's been signed. You haven't given me $1 million.
Fuck, that's funny.
I haven't given you a penny.
A penny. Okay, yeah.
You gave me $999.
Nothing. You've given me nothing, bro.
Yeah. What the fuck, Mr. Jimmy? Give me a penny, dude.
It's actually just it's kind of interesting. It really is interesting. This is a bold move. It's quite a bold move.
And it's even more bold because I'm never vulnerable on camera and like.
Yes, it's from a lot of perspectives. It is quite bold, and it's not like I haven't been critical. I feel like I've been fairly critical. I feel, and it's like talking to you, I feel bad, obviously because I'm a person.
Oompa, why are you giving so much ground, my friend? I know why. It's Mr. Jimmy, bro. It's Jimmy Beast, fucking Jimmy.
There's a person, there's different levels to how much you care about shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it is, if there were a testament, it would be, that would be a testament to this being being a meaningful source of information in this video. I feel like, I hope.
Yeah. Thank you. This is definitely outside my comfort zone, but I think it's important.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so that's kind of past like the main initial allegations. We can move on to sort of corporate culture and HR practices.
Oh, fuck me, boys. We need it on 5 times speed, man. Should have fucking downloaded it. I should have fucking downloaded. All right, let's run it. Let's run 1.5 for a sec, okay?
Been a big sort of point that a lot of critics have hammered home.
Yep.
And
we're just getting right into the hard stuff.
Hell yeah. So there have been a lot of questions about your workplace culture, such as a lack of diversity or also HR problems.
Yeah.
What, if anything, have you done to address these concerns? How have you handled it since information came out, and how do you plan on handling it in the future?
Okay, so we'll start with the diversity one. If I forget the HR one, just bring it up when I finish that one. Diversity, I have seen a lot of people mention that about our company, which, I mean, that one's just not even true. Like, I mean, Feastables, for example, couple months old, but like almost 70% of our company is women. And we actually, because we do dub studios around the world now.
Okay, this is him responding to the claim basically that it was a toxic culture, that they were just like a boys club, effectively. Boys will be boys. And he's basically saying, well, Feastables is 70% women.
Zooming out of Feastables over to content, I mean,
I don't know what the fuck the proof of that is, but that's his claim.
We actually have pretty crazy amount of diversity in our company. So, because, you know, we have 400 people that work for me. It's not just me and the boys on the camera, which is the 5 you see. So that one, the few people have claimed that like they don't have any data to back it up. So I guess I probably should have brought some data here. I don't want to just say percentages off the top of my head.
If you have, I'm sure you've got some kind of
but I really, that one I just don't think it's rooted in anything. And then what was the second part?
HR, how have you handled HR problems? What HR problems?
Oh yeah, so that one, I mean, it's a little bit of a general question, but yeah, I mean, obviously in general, a lot of people, I've seen a lot of things about, you know, HR stuff in my company, and I think one thing people don't have is just the context. Like, I think they think my channel is just like 5 people or 10 people or 20, whatever. Like, they don't realize the size of it. Like, specifically because
no, who the fuck thinks that?
Their videos have gotten so big. I mean, I'm going to give a little range because depending on how many people we've hired in the last month, it's somewhere between like 250 or 300 people work at my production company. You know, so this is a big company. There's a lot of people. And then on top of that, when we do like bigger videos where we need to build big sets or whatever, sometimes we bring in hundreds of contractors. So there's a lot of people that work.
This is what I'm talking about. Yeah, so they bring in contractors to build sets basically, and that is where a lot of the sexual harassment. I have even heard from personal anecdotes from people who worked on Beast Games or whatever, that these contractors, they come on and these are just like fucking like construction dudes who are not, you know, necessarily the most delicate around women, okay? And so this, I'm curious actually what MrBeast says here, because from what I am aware, okay, what they have started to do is that when they bring on contractors, okay, when they bring on basically independent people who aren't unionized, aren't like inundated into whatever to build sets, do construction, etc., when they bring these people on, now apparently they force them to go through effectively, you know, training, okay? But yeah, I want to see what he says here. Because that, on paper, that is a fuck up, right? An oversight. They bring on randoms and the randoms mistreat staff. Anyway.
And like, I just want to blanketly say, like, companies at this size, like, you know, you can't ever guarantee that every interaction everyone's going to have is always going to be positive with each other. You know what I mean? That's just impossible. So I want to start off by just saying that, because I don't want people to watch this and then like a year from now, like hear some rumor and be like, oh, Jimmy didn't learn. Like, any company of this size, there's always going to be some problem someone has. Now, having said that, I'm not trying to use it as like a blanket of like, see, and shield myself. There are two things that are like someone in my position who runs a company like this is in control of. One is, you know, making sure we're not fostering anything inappropriate and you know, allowing it. And then two, when it inevitably happens, because it just will in a company my size. And I'm trying to be transparent here. Like, it's you know, how do you respond to it? And then like, and then making sure you're not fostering it. Part of Point Emmanuel, when we had them do their investigation, is I had them look at every system in my company. I had them talk to my employees and if, you know, see if there's anything they could bring to Point Emmanuel's attention that they could make me aware of. And like, I think it was in the report. It's like we established an anonymous hotline, because Point Emmanuel showed me data that like sometimes people don't feel comfortable talking to HR or their boss, and like if you have an anonymous.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So there's a note that this is in the document. All that is shown in the document is a screenshot of a portal that I'm assuming MrBeast employees have access to, where they can make an anonymous complaint.
An anonymous hotline, because Point Emmanuel showed me data that like sometimes people don't feel comfortable talking to HR or their boss, and like if you have an anonymous hotline to go to someone outside the company that can hear a complaint and then beam it into you without disclosing who it was, like you'll get more honest feedback, you know, because there's like, so they show us a lot of things like that. Also, in making sure we're not fostering it. Like I think it's also in there as well. We leveled up like our C-suite, because I've had a lot of people that have grown with me, but like me, they've never ran a company that has hundreds of employees before. So I actually just hired a couple people who have worked on Fortune 500 companies who have actually ran companies of this size before. And so, you know, they've shown me lots of things that bigger companies do that obviously
Yeah, so they're hiring basically professionals to take on this, like the managerial positions, because yes, he does not know what he's doing necessarily.
Just ignorant on, because I'm a YouTuber, you know what I mean? I spend my life staring at retention charts and CTR, not how to structure a business. So just, that's phase one, is making sure you're not fostering, you know, a culture that supports that stuff. And then inevitably, like I said, you can't ever guarantee when you're working with hundreds of people full time, and then when you add part-time people, potentially over 1,000 sometimes, you just got to make sure if there are issues, that actual real issues, like if someone complains because someone peed on a toilet seat, like I'm not, oh well. But if there's an actual serious issue, then, you know, we'll bring in professionals who experience and, you know, getting down to it, interview them, gather the information. I'll recuse myself. I don't want to be the arbiter of truth. And then, you know, those experts who are experienced in handling those things, they'll tell me how to handle it. If they tell me to fire someone, I fire them. If they tell me to whatever, I'll do it. You know what I mean? I don't want to be the one who makes those decisions. So, and transparency, that's kind of.
So I think this is one where a lot of YouTubers, people who have covered this type of thing, don't really understand that HR is a real living and breathing organism in business, and if you don't maintain it, it can become a problem for a normal business. But when your business is someone like you who
Oompa's handing him a fucking, like, he's handing it to him on a golden platter basically right now. I'm curious if he's gonna kind of dig in a little deeper.
reputation's on the line. I also have like a bunch of businesses. I've got 60 employees, and we have an HR department.
How many?
You whose reputation's on the line. I also have like a bunch of businesses. I've got 60 employees, and we have an HR department.
Dude, Oompa's a fucking nut, man. Oompa's a fucking nut.
And like something happens once a month where someone gets an anonymous report, and then we have to solve that problem, and we actually.
You're evil.
Yeah, and that's that's how it feels sometimes.
Yeah.
But I'm not involved obviously in that stuff, and my YouTube side is very compartmentalized. So the way that I do that, it makes sense to me. I want to be as detached as much as possible from day-to-day operations of like the actual business. You're saying you're running the company. Is there a world in which what is your job title? Is there a world in which you step back and you are just like not an actor necessarily, but you're the guy, you're MrBeast, and you let the business be operated by an entity to where you can stand beside it essentially instead of being at the head of it?
No, I mean, at the end of the day, it's my channel, it's my company, so I wouldn't take it that far. I think like the big thing is just bringing in people who have actually ran a company at this size before, because eventually I will be more educated and knowledgeable. Like every day, I'm learning more on like how to properly run a company with hundreds of people and better do it. But I'm still very ignorant. Like I probably crossed 100 employees like 3 years ago or 2.5 years ago, but it's still just growing. So like because across everything, if you include festivals and view stats, we have over 400 employees. So it's a learning thing. But that's the thing. While I'm learning, I need to bring in people who have been there and learn from them.
Yeah, because there's no replacement for this experience, right?
Exactly.
Like, you can be as smart as anybody, but if you haven't been able to go through the things you've gone through and like things just personally that I know that I've gone through and learned from business, it's not possible to know. It's not possible to know how to react to those things, or that's why I sort of try to do my best to compartmentalize my business. Obviously, different beast than what you're operating, but it just it's just it's difficult and it does make sense. And you've used the word ignorant a couple times. I'd be interested to see how changes are made after this, which you've already made a lot of changes. Obviously, the anonymous reporting is the biggest one for HR. That's like been
and it's like that's one of those things where like it's not like I was like, oh, we don't need. I just didn't know. Like I never seen the data they showed me, and like if any other people have this kind of stuff, like I'm always open to learning.
Of course, yeah. I think the most important thing too is like at the end of the day, you've got the most to gain from all this.
Exactly. I want my employees happy. I gain nothing out of them not being happy. Like it hurts me. It's like I have a monetarily incentivization to do this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and that's why I feel like the criticism of
that's not the typical relationship necessarily with an employer and an employee. Okay. You do not always have an incentive to make sure your employees are happy necessarily, okay? Maybe a MrBeast business because it's very public facing and PR is a big issue. But at the very least, it's not, it is a controversial thing to say to imply basically that, an owner necessarily, would be incentivized to make sure that their employees have a happy life or whatever. Although, I believe him when he says here he just doesn't want the problem.
Of entities like yours and even mine, with truth, obviously, and like logic, and there's a real basis of rationale that makes sense. It's centered in reality.
Yeah.
I feel like that's super important because once again, you have so much to gain and like spend less. You make a little bit less money, but your employees are substantially happier and they feel safer or just more confident in you as their leader or their boss. So it's it's interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see how all this kind of goes from here at this point, especially.
Yeah,
this is a big moment.
I know the interview, the day of the interview.
But that makes sense though. I mean, and like I don't want to continuously interject my own business experience, but I think it does set me apart from other YouTubers who are involved in this, in that I do have business experience.
Sorry for the ass cam, bruh. Oompa, fuck.
From it's sort of the same thing. I just fell into running actual businesses and having to do payroll and HR, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Exactly.
I had no idea any of this stuff existed, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get fucked. Your mom was previously head of your HR department, and some people have criticized that as a conflict of interest. Did you personally at the time even consider that? And do you now also acknowledge that is a conflict of interest?
Oh, I agree. That's a dumb thing to do.
Yeah.
I do think context matters though, because like this is where a lot of these things that I assume we're going to talk about is like people conflate current MrBeast with 400 employees and spending hundreds of millions of dollars a year with MrBeast when he's a teenager and starting. I mean, when I first started hiring people, it was like, oh, we went to high school together. You want to help me make videos? And I hired a couple of my friends for high school. So, and then I was like, how do I do taxes and this kind of stuff? And I was like, Mom, help. And so, I mean, I wouldn't say she's head of HR. I mean, she was, I guess, but she's also running finance, and it's not like a real company. We just get in this like little $700 no, actually that one was $1,080 a month office I was renting, and I just be like to this one guy that I knew from high school, all right, today you're gonna go paint this thing. Today, you friend number 2, you're gonna like help me edit this, and you friend number 3, you're gonna go to the store and buy 1,000 chickens that like scream when you press down on them. And Mom, I don't know, just make sure the iOS doesn't sue me. Like that's the time frame we're talking about here. But yes, I agree. Like it's stupid. Like you definitely shouldn't have your mom as an HR person. You should just hire someone who was educated in HR, which is obviously what we have. We have an HR team now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think, and that's sort of like one of the weird things from just a business perspective. Once again, it's like someone becomes HR by default, even if you don't say, "Well, this is the HR person. This is our contact."
Because like back then, it's like, I mean, you got a problem, just tell me. There's like 5 of us.
That's great.
But yes, but
Oompa, let's hear it, man.
still, I'm like, in this, I'm not trying to like.
Fuck, man. Like, at least ask him when his mom formally stopped being the fucking HR go-to.
Deflect everything. Like, I mean, yes, obviously you shouldn't. You should hire an actual HR person. Agreed.
Like,
That's good advice.
Yes.
That sounds good. I do agree with that.
Shocker.
Yeah, crazy. The no doesn't mean no policy that was criticized. That was crazy. I mean, when I first saw that, I was like, what the fuck?
Well, you're answering for me. Let me answer.
It was criticized, especially by Soggy recently, of having been taken out of context. Can you explain what the no doesn't mean no policy was and why it was in the...
Yes. So, yeah. So it's funny, even the word like policy, it's like, so when we started hiring more people, I wrote this little, I almost like advice book just for a lot of employees because I wasn't able to talk with people as much as I was early on. And one part of it that people, when this thing got leaked, and I wrote it with some other people in my company, it wasn't just me, but when this got leaked, there's a section that said no does not mean no. And then they just like cropped that out and they're like, look, this is proof Jimmy's immoral and evil. When obviously, like you were saying, if you read the context below, it makes sense. The gist of why we had a section that said no does not mean no is because we do, I don't know if anyone's ever seen our videos, crazy things that have never been done before, right? No one's ever on YouTube at least spared themselves.
yeah, okay, yes, okay, he wasn't saying go and commit crimes or whatever necessarily, but it's like if you're asking for a set or whatever, or some supply or whatever, then emphasize like, dude, we got the money. We can do it. This is a real offer.
July for 7 days, no one.
I wish I could just skip certain lines of
like,
questioning.
The problem I kept running into early on when I was hiring people is I'd be like, hey, I want to do this. And then they would go call someone. So like, let's say the obstacle course in the sky where we had like this obstacle courses that Mac did held up by these cranes weighed like 100,000 pounds or whatever. Like they would call crane companies and they'd be like, no. And then they'd be like, okay, hang up. They come to me and they go, Jimmy, they said, no, we can't do it. The video's not possible. And it's like, okay, well, of course they're going to say no because everything we do has never been done before. But like, ask them why. Like obviously if they don't be rude, but if they say no, just try to understand why, right? And a lot of times you'll have an instance where like, well, we can't get all the cranes at one time because we're renting them out. And it's like, okay, perfect. That we respect that, but can I offer something before you actually hard say no? What if we went to the 2 or 3 other clients that day that rented the cranes, we paid them 5 times the amount of money they paid to rent those cranes to just, rent them a week later, and let's just see. And then the company would usually be like, oh, you would do that? It's like, yeah, like we want to work with you to find a solution.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, yes. No does not mean no because they can afford to fucking have them say yes. That's what it is.
To make your problem our problem and solve it. And then like, then a hard no, well, 50% of the time, yeah, actually we can do it if you're willing to spend a little extra money or whatever. So that was me trying to educate my employees on that. And somehow, well, I don't know, I'm not even gonna say somehow, I know how. I mean, people who didn't care about the truth and just, wanted to spread disinformation and manipulate.
Dude, is Tom still fucking live right now?